All right, so I have some notes here for, I took a look through your company, I looked through the deck, and I looked through a number of the things that you have. First of all, very well put together. You can see that there's a lot of thought in your deck, and I can definitely tell that this comes from meat, essentially, that there's actually something to, just because there's, normally when you look at a pitch deck, there's some hollow spots, but so far your pitch deck looks great. So first of all, let's start off. Sell me on your company. Give me your elevator pitch.
You're talking to me, I assume.
Oh yes.
So thanks for taking this time to interview us, John. Much appreciated. Umbra was created to move data. We have been experiencing the rise of the internet over the past 30 years, and technology hasn't kept up. The file sizes have gotten much bigger, and security has gotten worse as computers are getting better at cracking code. So my partner Joseph Rubenstein and I, we created Umbra to move data fast and reliably and highly secure. That's the essence of Umbra.
Okay, so then you're saying that the world is still using stagecoaches, which are easy to catch up to and easy to rob, and you guys have put in a monorail that's guarded, gets there a lot faster, and it's a lot more difficult to rob one of those, right?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I mean, the technology that is below the internet that moves the data today is from the 1960s and 70s. It's really, really old technology.
Okay, so then you're betting that the world's movement towards improving infrastructure. Right now, there's a movement to improve not only the electrical grids here in the United States and in Canada, but then also the roads, bridges, and all that other stuff. So there's a fervor for that. Do you believe that there will be a push for for more of the internet and connections and such for an infrastructure there with companies?
Well, it has to be. If you're going to get the full advantage of 5G telephony, for instance, you need to upgrade the underlying infrastructure, or it makes no sense to go any further than we already are in terms of communications.
Okay, so then why can't we just use the current, cables, fiber? Why can't we use the current internet?
They are very inefficient the way they work because of this super old technology that has a lot of packet loss to it. It wasn't designed in the first place to move this kind of data. TCP/IP, which is the prevailing protocol,
yeah,
was built by the US military to move data within a US military base, within one base, and now we're using it to communicate around the world. So it has its shortfalls, and so you need to advance on that. And the advantage of, for instance, 5G is that it becomes very, very fast. It allows you to move a lot of data very fast, but it's only on the first 100 yards or so from your mobile phone to the base station. After the base station, you're going to have to move that data in the same infrastructure with the same legacy technologies as you already have, unless you want to build an entirely new network, and that's a challenge.
So then Umbra Technologies is able to take the existing highway, but just use it more efficiently and cheaper than it's currently being used?
Yes, that's correct. We're able to take all these existing protocols, put our own protocols in, and make them more efficient.
Okay, so then hence faster, cheaper, and more secure. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, you've covered several of my notes already. That's pretty interesting that you were able to tell the future. Yeah. So tell me, as an investor, how am I going to improve the world as well as improve my portfolio? If I'm investing in your company and such, sell me on how's my money going to be used, and how am I going to see? How am I going to be able to brag to people that, hey, I have this in my portfolio and it's pretty much a sure thing?
Well, we have a fairly comprehensive financial plan, a use of funds that we have developed. Mark and I have been working on that for quite some time. And what we have is a solid investment strategy for deployment of the funds we get. Most of it will be used for market entry into North America and Europe. as well as expanding our R&D capabilities, expanding our engineering pool in North America. So we're able to build our technology faster, while we're also being able to put the Made in America stamp on the technology, which it's a big deal in terms of what we're doing now, because at the moment we're out of Hong Kong. And we have the stigmatization of Hong Kong and Asia as part of our challenge, and that's one of the things we want to overcome. So we're also moving our headquarters to North America.
Okay, so then you were able to though work out of Hong Kong, where you were able to get the proof of putting, so we say the proof of concept. You were able to do it cheaper then. So now your investment is essentially, you have a proven product. You just need to scale as quickly as possible to create or to fill in the missing gaps in the current industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges. We have a lot of technologies that we have developed and actually patented. Joseph Rubenstein, the CTO of the company and my partner, he is really technically, he's a technical savant, to be honest. And so we have a lot of patents that we have been filing. We have filed in the US, in Europe, in China, and in India, among others, to make sure that our technology is protected. We have commercialized one part of the patent portfolio to make sure that we could actually commercialize what we're doing, make a product out of technology, to show that we're able to go from an idea to an actual product in the market. But we actually have a range of new products that could be in the market very quickly with the right funding.
Okay, so then your statement is that you have a currently operating, functioning revenue coming in, and your company is not only an infrastructure improvement company, your company is also a research and development. So then if I'm investing, or if we're investing, not only are we investing in a current revenue generating product, we're also investing in something that we can leave our money and it's going to continue to get bigger because you're working on R&D and patents. Is that what we're looking at? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then you also covered Mr. Rubenstein. He's called him the savant. He's the CTO. So he's one of the main chefs cooking up the new formulas, the new recipes for improving the current. Who else is on the team, and what value do they bring to Umbra Technologies?
Well, we do have some engineers that works together with Joseph, but Mark here is on our team as well. He is our compliance officer. He is the one that has made sure that we are adhering to SEC rules and things like that, adhering to US GAAP, all of these things that is important for a company to comply with. We have very skilled marketing people working with us. And we also have a range of advisors at this moment, ranging from former executives in British Petroleum to Intel and IBM. Okay,
so these are on your advisory board, or what part do they
do? They are on our advisory board, yes.
Okay, and so are they also helping with channel partners, or what does the process look like for the company to make money?
Well, we today have a mix of channel partner and direct sales strategies, where we are in the market ourselves, but we're also deploying channel partners to sell our product. Mm-hmm. We're able to do that because the product we have in the market is a plug and play product. You don't need to be very technically skilled to install it, and then it just runs by itself.
Okay, so then how fast is the onboarding for the product?
Once you sign, you mean, or the sales process itself?
Well, what I mean is, so say that someone agrees, they sign, and then how fast can we implement your solution?
If we are in close proximity, within a day's travel, we can have it up and running the next day. Okay. If we have to go a little further, we today have a physical device that you need to connect to. If we have to send it, for instance, by post or courier services, it will delay. But once you have the device in the facility you're installing in, it takes anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how skilled the engineering team on the other end is.
Okay, so then part of your system is an actual some kind of key box or some kind of some security device.
It's a combination of security and a gateway, an access point to our network.
Okay.
We've had to add this layer of security in certain markets where we are operating, where the government is difficult to deal with at times.
Okay, so
but
your
we
company
also
has
have,
your company has this capability to truly make it secure, your product secure.
yeah, I don't mean to, beat our own drum too much, but there is no security that rivals it. It's quite astonishing, actually,
And that can be put in 10 minutes.
It can be installed in 10 minutes, yes, because the device comes with with everything ready. You just it's about as difficult to install this as it is for a home router when you go and buy a D-Link at the local public store, and then you plug it in your house. That's as difficult it is to install this.
Okay, so then, I mean, truly like a secure Internet of Things, it's as easy as consumer, but it's built for the corporate and multinationals.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, great. And then how large is this market we're talking about? Because, I mean, the internet is gargantuan. So what can we realistically say that Umbra is going to create a playing field? And I'm talking like money. Tell me as an investor, what am I looking at getting into?
So if we look at just the product that has been monetized today,
yeah,
that market is growing at about 56% every year. That's the SD-WAN market, the software-defined market.
Yeah.
And it's growing extremely fast. But it's actually a very small part of our entire potential product portfolio. And just looking at our patents the way they are today, not thinking of patents into the future, but just the ones we have today that are granted in the US and elsewhere, as mentioned. We're looking today at a market that is approaching $500 billion. And by 2023, it's projected to be $1 trillion market. If we were to take even a fraction of that market, we would have a quite substantial revenue stream.
Okay, and so your patents, some of them I saw in the write-ups, they're greenfield patents, which means that anything that's built on top of them, they have to pay you a nickel, they have to pay you a quid. What are the competitive advantages that are going to guarantee, or as much as possible guarantee, that Umbra Technologies is going to be the major player?
Well, when it comes to competitive advantage, now those that have gone to business school will remember Michael Porter and the five forces and all of that. I strongly disagree with his analysis, simply because the only competitive advantage that is sustainable over time is innovation. Everything else can be copied. But both Joseph and I believe very strongly in continuing to innovate. So a large percentage of the revenue that we generate goes into continued innovation. And we already have a list of new patents that we want to draft and we want to secure and continue to innovate ourselves. Not only the technology, but also in how we approach the market, how we solve certain things. But yes, we will continue to innovate. We will never stop. And we will continue to grow our patent and product portfolio as a result of that.
Okay, so then let's just say, that people listening right now and myself, let's say that we invest, okay, and we have a product life cycle, let's say the next 2 years. That's 2023. You're saying that it's going up over 50% per year, which is much outpaces even the world's growth. So you're approaching $1 trillion in 2 years. Based on your current track record, can either you or Mark tell us about the current track record, and then tell me how you have forecast for the next 2 years? Let's say that you get your funding right now. What does it look like for me based on real numbers?
Well, that is actually straightforward to answer. We have had solid growth in the 50s and 60s. up until the year 2020. Certain
What
things
happened?
happened. Well, there was this little bug that came out of China.
Somebody unplugged something?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The world kind of got unhinged, and we had to, to make a very long story short, we got split up. The team got split up. We got separated around the world due to travel restrictions, etc. But we were able to maintain our revenue through the pandemic. Now it's not over yet.
Interesting.
The pandemic is not over yet. We're starting to see more and more effect of it because companies have been struggling to keep up. And the longer this continues, the more companies going to get into trouble for sure. But we have been able to maintain our revenue through 2020, which I was very happy about.
Okay,
One thing, John, I would want to add is that while it wasn't a great year last year to even entertain the thought of approaching the investment community, we took a different road and used really all of last year to engage in very serious deep dives with master channel partners that are located in North America and Europe, with sub channels, with a number of groups that are household names that we won't be able to discuss based on confidentiality, but groups that will help Umbra with licensing in areas of the patent portfolio where we don't have the human resources, obviously, to be able to grow every product extension out of what is really one of the more incredible patent portfolios you'll see on a small company. But we've gone deep dives with probably 8 to 9 very serious groups in the US and Europe, all of who are basically standing by. And that's about sales growth, right? That's about engaging with Umbra to introduce them to companies all throughout North America and Western Europe. It's about looking at infringing, which quite frankly, every major technology company in the world right now is infringing upon Umbra in some way. And so we've been able to organize lots of real interesting relationships that are ready to go. So, you can very specifically show the investing community that it's not like we have to go build something. I mean, Jorn and Joseph will always be building new products, but today we have the ability to just accelerate sales at a really incredible clip, and some really incredible groups that are ready to work with Umbra. Now, they don't work for free, and they deploy lots of capital on their own and lots of people, but the relationships are exciting. And so when it comes time to turn the corner, hopefully, as early as April, I think that's going to be one of the most impressive things you'll see. And that kind of ties back into, it wasn't really a lost year for us. It wasn't a great year to go out and, try to really accelerate the business through capital raising. But now that we're settling a bit, what Jorn did accomplish last year with a lot of these third-party relationships and vendors is impressive. And
I like how both of you seem to be answering my questions before I even get to them. So it seems like you guys are really ahead of not only the pack, but ahead of me. That's great. So this isn't your first rodeo either. You've done this before. You've thought this through. All right. So then a few of the things that you addressed there, as far as the infringement in the future, I love that because the investors that I work with, we call that obligatory equity for these other companies and such. Essentially, it's like, hey, you're already using us. You might as well use us and we'll support you. So I do like that as an investor. I like that because that to me is, nothing is guaranteed, but that is essentially proof that companies are already using you. They just don't know that they should be paying you yet. So that's great as an investor standpoint. As far as the multi-channel partners that you were talking about and such, and even the year, from what I can tell and what you just told me, I don't see Umbra as having stalled. And as you said, your revenue shows you didn't stall. Essentially what happened is that the world realized that it needs Umbra because people are scattered, as Jorn said. And so if the investment brings the Umbra team together and initiates the actual R&D lab, And then the money, most of the money you're using is to bring the team together and then to sell. So most of the money that's going to be invested is going to be in money generating processes. This is not like, hey, we got to sink money into a factory, we got to sink money into something that's not going to pay off. This is actually putting money into the marketing and sales, which is where the money is generated. And then finally, with the verticals, the current Umbra, what I heard you say, and what my own now becoming biased because reading up on you guys has definitely sold me on you, is that the world realized that it is going to be multinational and that they're going to have people in Bali, they're going to have people in Palm Beach, they're going to have people in Cancun, they're going to have people in Fiji, everywhere. So they're going to need to be able to connect quickly, securely, and cheaply. So essentially, you guys were able to take the main drivers for any new product, but instill it into an infrastructure that already exists and everyone already uses. So this is kind of a no-brainer for me. So then if we invest today, it's mainly going into money-producing activities. You're going to bring the brand to the United States so that, again, there's not only the security of the web, security of the product, but also security of the company, the patents, and the like. As well as, lastly, if we're going to invest in you and you bring it to the United States, I'm going to guess, and I hate to be prejudiced, but you're going to come to North America so that you can draw on Canadian, United States, and European engineers and technical staff and such. Is that true?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we looking at as we close up our chat?
No, that is correct. We are looking to hire skilled engineers in North America, and we have found that we have tried with engineers in China, we have tried with engineers in India, and they just don't cut it. They are very good at reproducing what someone else has created before, but we need people that are not afraid of thinking outside the box, people that are very skilled at the underlying networking infrastructure coding. And we have only found them in North America. We, to some extent, in the UK actually, but in North America is where they are. Okay.
All right. So then, Jorn and Mark, you both have talked about how there are multiple verticals. There's the entire infrastructure of the internet. Your product is able to connect multinationals to their workforces, to their servers, to their data centers. You're able to do it quicker, cheaper, and more secure. And then also the investment that you're looking for from us, from everyone viewing, is you're looking for the money to bring your staff into a secure location in North America or the United States, and then but the majority is going to be put into money-making projects and vehicles such as marketing, branding, using your already pre-existing relationships with large vertical pushers, channel partners, and all that such. Did we miss anything?
No, that's correct. I mean, some part of this and quite a substantial chunk of it is going into continued innovation and continued R&D as well. But again, that is, in our view, revenue generating, because we do create patents. We do intend to litigate. But we need to be able to do the R&D first to be able to productize something to then go out into the market.
Okay, so then you've got your product life cycle isn't a full down. It's essentially up, up, up. Okay, because that's what the R&D is. And as you said, innovation is what our show is about. And so innovation is where the world is investing in. So, all right, well, do you have anything else to add before we conclude? Jorn, Mark?
I do not. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Okay,
Mark, thanks so much for telling us about the channel partners. That was definitely on my list. And it's always nice to know that channel partners are already existing, lined up for an investment. So I want to say thank you both for your time, and anyone else watching. I'm excited. I'm interested, and hopefully we can all find a way to invest in Umbra, because I mean that's just the world is changed. And so I believe that Umbra, based on my reviews, I give them my thumbs up. Umbra is definitely going to be a big player in the future, and I'm looking forward to getting involved. We'll see you guys soon.